Hello again. Undertaken a little bit more research on the Santander account and had a few more discussions. And it seems that the blocks that that the lady quoted to me, which were September and November of 2023, related to the FCA. I think the first one was a worldwide freezing order, and the subsequent one, you can check this out on their own website and announcements. Second one in November was the restraint order. So that kind of raises funny questions, because if you look at the announcement, in particular the second one, it sort of suggests that they can immobilize or freeze the assets until there's a conclusion of a criminal or civil case, and then they can try to claim back assets if they get the successful outcome. But then it's hard to reconcile that restraint order being in place and then the money just disappearing to the Treasury Solicitor, who it seems sits within the Cabinet Office. Current one was the incumbent was appointed earlier this year by Lord Hermer. He and Starmer, of course, are persecutors of British service personnel who, yes, you can definitely say that the Iraq War was illegal and premised on falsified intelligence, but it was not really the fault of the service personnel who were sent there. The people who sent them there were the wrongdoers. That's how the system works, I guess. I think the new Attorney General is Ali Reeves, so one would hope that the Cabinet Office, Treasury Solicitor, would see it as the right thing to ultimately make that the £18,847, I think, available to the clients of WealthTek. It's, I say this with greatest respect, it's relative to losses, it's quite small, but it would morally be a success if it ends up back with the WealthTek clients, I would have thought. So hopefully we can see that. I mean, if it stays where it is, then I guess it will cover Angela Rayner's severance pay, which she took for resigning after receiving criticism from the ethics chap, and then subsequently was reappointed by our incumbent King of the North, Andy Burnham. So you start to see how really, really dark and unpleasant politics and our current governance is. But the real tragedy, I suppose, is I warned them about this LLP, Collingwood Wealth LLP, and the account back in 2021. Told them to audit all the LLPs and their regulated vehicle and study the cash flows between them. That wasn't taken up by the FCA or the accountant. But even if you go forward from there until April 23, when they sort of placed WealthTek into special administration, there's still a big, essentially a 5-month gap between that point and the first order being put in place, the first block being put in place, where hopefully no cash was moved out of that account, but there was a 5-month opportunity to do so. Try and find out whether that's actually happened. I suspect that the FCA behind the scenes will try to block that from happening, but in the instance of transparency, we should be able to know that. But I should try. 5 months does take a long period of time, because they tried to say that my whistleblowing was confidential. I'd waive confidentiality, as they know, so that was the decision internally, the FCA, to make it available. I also contacted the FCA in April 2023 after the announcement and said, look, you made mistakes, you need to get moving quickly, so on and so forth. They put me into a complaint cycle, which was just marking time and obfuscating. So that was another wasted opportunity, because I could have sped that up in terms of where they needed to look. Even all these matters aside, you thought any credible investigator would just look on Companies House, all the associated companies, and in particular look at any that were currently active still, and you'd move like lightning to ensure what effectively had moved to those live vehicles, and try to essentially lock it down. So this account, Santander account, if they'd done that very quickly, I don't know why it's taken 5 months to lock down that account. It's a real tragedy. But I do feel it underscores what I've told you all along, that the current regulatory model is flawed, and it doesn't serve accountability, and it doesn't serve the victims of financial scandals. And this is yet another example of why that's true. I shall update you if I come across any more information, but it's a very strange set of affairs. Take care. Bye.